And we're live. So, welcome to Not an Eberron Deep Dive. This is me getting to talk about all the things I want to talk about Eberron, but, you know, I don't want to wait till 39.91 to get around to them, because that joke is going to continue here too. So, yes, I don't expect anyone to be watching, which is fine because we kind of didn't announce this, and you know what? I forgot to send out the little bleep, 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 links and everything to the Discords and stuff, so that's fine. That's on me. So yes, I'm just gonna get right into all the things I want to talk about, and most of them are going to be magic items and things like that, because there's so many good magic items in Eberron. And if you've seen, well, if you have the magic item compendium and you look at the magic item compendium and you come across the same items from the Eberron books, they're so much worse. I cannot emoticon just how worse they are. So anyway, yes. Now, actually, I'm gonna, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna start with that actually, because screw it. I'm in control. I'm the captain now. All right. I am going to find a button. Where's the button? There's a button. Is that a button? That's the button. All right. It's going to be small, isn't it? Yeah. All right. Give me a sec. You know what? Screw that. Bloop, 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 bloop. All right. So, what kind of example am I talking about here? Robe of Arcane Might. In the Magic Item Compendium, this item is a +4 to armor robe that gives you a +1 caster level to a magic school, right? Let's go up here and have a look at what actually this robe does. So it can offer you the equivalent of a +2, 4, 6, or 8 armor bonus as a robe, so that it doesn't affect your casting at all through maximum dex bonus, armor check, or arcane spell failure. And it gives you a, oh, where is that? A +2 caster level. Right there. Too higher. Too high. It's a +2. To the magic school that it's attuned to. So, you know, if you're going full evocation, +2 caster level higher. Anyway. Now, that all sounds well and good. However, down here, variant. This is something that comes up quite a bit. All the variants, as well as like all the other options of the arcane robe of arcane might, aren't in the magic item compendium. So it doesn't have stuff like this. Variants. Some robes of arcane might have an additional protective benefit, a resistance bonus on saving throws of either +2 or +4. A +4 resistance bonus as well. Now, I realize I shouldn't be getting so upset over this, because, you know, why? That it doesn't mean much. But I'm going to come here and explain why that's like a really big issue. Because here, so this is the Magic of Eberron book. Just going to zoom in a little bit. Look at book. Isn't he a happy little fella? Yeah. Now, you're probably noticing something. What's that? Oh. Sorry. That that is a spare hand. Want to know why? Because he's got a belt that allows him to have an extra hand that is fully articulated. Like, I mean, come on. Now, give me a second because I am being accosted by not only my partner, Grim, to the left of me. Exactly. But our usual host, Go, who's messaging me on Discord because he sees how it is. Yes, I have taken over. I am now running the show. I am the captain now. I am talking about what I want to talk about. All the things that aren't part of the stuff that we're normally talking about, but I'm talking about them here. Haha. I've gone mad with power. That's your fault. Anyway, so where was I? So let's get over here. Okay. Kenneth goggles. This is something that's also in the magic item compendium. For the most part, the effects as listed are mostly the same. The goggles give you a +5 competence bonus on certain spot checks. If you power your Kenneth goggles with a first level infusion, the goggles allow you to see more clearly in dimly lit areas as if you had low light vision. If you power your Kenneth goggles with a second level infusion, you gain low light vision plus dark vision to a distance of 60 feet. And a third level infusion powers the goggles to provide low light vision and dark vision to a range of 120 feet. That's mostly the same. What's slightly different is, again, we have variant. More variant. Yeah, once again, not in the magic item compendium. When powered by a 5th level infusion, a few pairs of Kenneth goggles grant true seeing as the spell with a range of 30 feet for 10 minutes. Come on! Although, I was thinking about this and, I get it. If you showed off the magic items as they are in Eberron with their full load of options, with their variants, you're going to quickly come to realize that, well, I mean, firstly, you've got way more options in Eberron than you do in the other settings. But second, your magic items, they've been tinkered and they're more prolific, which is, of course, because Eberron is a much more once again, I'm getting distracted by our former former host. Ooh, wow. That's not a Freudian slip. That's just me being bad at English. Okay. Our usual host, I meant absent host, absent. Although after this, I imagine I'm going to be absent from the next stream. Or should I say former co-host? Yes, imaginary English is hard. I will give you that. Anyway, so everyone, you've got a setting here that basically for at least from the Age of Giants onwards, has had civilizations rising and falling, building off of each successive civilization's development of magic and magic as technology. So, you start off with the giants who got more creative with magic thanks to the dragons teaching them, who then, kind of maybe accidentally, blew up a moon. You then get to the Dakari, Dakani. You get to the Orc and Goblinoid civilization, and you have them. Shan's a great example. You have them building a giant city-state where there are segments of the city that just float. They're just floating there. The engineering, both architecturally and magically, involved in that is just a step up. And then you get to present day Corvair with the Five Nations. Well, they're not really the Five Nations anymore, but you're at a point where Artificer's mage rights now are so prolific that magic is just everywhere. It's just everywhere. And even though in the Eberron campaign setting it says that magic, basic magic items and stuff aren't cheaper, it's just that there's more people able to create them. I really feel like it was I guess in a way, a missed opportunity to say that, yeah, there's a degree of magic items that are just basically cheaper. I mean, especially when you start looking at these Artificer items from the Magic of Eberron, which I'm going to continue, by the way. I know I'm off on the side tangent, but I'm going to circle back. But, you've got a combination of Artificers and Mage Rights. I will, Grim. You are right next to me. I will stick the boy in you. Anyway, I will circle out of my tangent eventually. How about that? But I feel like it's a missed opportunity to have it so that you specify that, hey, yes, the magic items, the standard magic items that are in the DMG, consider them I don't know, 25% cheaper than what they are, because they are basic common magic items so much that the expertise at creating them has become so much easier, so much more ingrained in Artificer, Mage Right, skilled wizards and such, that it's really easy to make those items. I feel like that's a really missed opportunity there. But whatever. I wasn't there. I can't be like, hey, this is how you should have done it. Because that was about 22 years ago. Yeah. And I would have been 20-ish. Yeah. Anyway. Well, see, okay, Grim. So here's the thing, right? I just need the downtime or the minions to be able to make this stuff. Now, yes, and they are called dedicated rights, and homunculi. They are homunculi type from Eberron that Artificers can make en masse. And I would be in my game if we had downtime yet, and I don't have downtime. That's why, and so I can't do that just yet. But I will. But I will. And then I'm going to have a whole production line of just like making basic magic items and then moving them off into like another section where they become enchanted with like base things, and I'm just going to mass factory line all this stuff and just make a ton of money. And then amuse myself to see how well our 3.5 Dwarf Game GM handles that, because he's not going to like. He's already said he's already thinking of how the gods are going to respond to an artificer like myself. So, oh dear. What now? So would you say that is one downside to being an artificer, is that you need to be able to have downtime to allow for parts of your build to work? Yes. In fact, that is the entire point. The artificer does need regular downtime in order for their time to work, for their class to really actually shine. Like, for example, we got downtime in our last 3.5 game. We got downtime, and in that downtime, I enchanted everyone's gear so that we're ready for the final battle. I made 12 spell completion this is, we only had like half an hour in game. We only had like half an hour, but we spent like 6 hours doing that. But so yeah, I've enchanted everyone's gear, so everyone now has death ward on them, so no instant death magic for anyone, and they don't suffer negative levels. I made the 12 spell completion items, which include some fun Eberron toys, let me tell you that. Oh, that's right. I gave the 2 tanks 1 use spell completions on their weapons so that they can re-roll a crit chance and they can automatically confirm a crit. So if they roll in their crit range to crit the target, they can then just go for their full damage from there. Which, for one of them, he's got Vorpal on his weapon. And I told him, I'm doing this so that you can kill the Jarl. So I'm hoping that bastard is just going to, for the love of God, roll a crit and then kill the big bad. Because, that would be awesome. Because, and I'm totally taking partial credit for that one, because that's assuming he does. We'll find out on Sunday. We'll find out on Sunday how this goes. If it goes well, I'm going to be celebrating, and talking direct is just going to be me just like blowing up and just hold on. It's going to be me just blowing up, going, I did it. But yes. But I will be very happy, yes. Yeah, it'll be fun though. No one can do the sax zoom except for sax, okay? Encountered on my own stream by my partner, who's both annoying me right there. She's literally here. I'm literally touching her right now. See, look there. Look, she's touching me right now. Yes, that's my face, and she's hounding me in chat as well. This is anyway. I'm getting on with this. So, Canis Goggles pointed out variant. Oh, look at that. You also get, if powered by a 5th level infusion, you also get True Seeing as a spell That's awesome. Come on, for 10 minutes a day. Woo. So, what's next? Infinite scroll case. Actually, I don't think the infinite scroll case actually has a variant. Pretty sure it's listed as is in the Magic Item Compendium. The Ring of Master Artifice is listed as is in the Magic Item Compendium. Why is that so hard for me to remember that name? I don't know. Anyway, so our next big fun magic item, the spare hand. I'm going to read this one out verbatim because this is fucking awesome. Spare hand. A spare hand can hold and manipulate objects for you. Description. A spare hand is a magic animated arm and three-fingered claw attached to a heavy leather belt reinforced with straps of metal. When the belt is worn around your waist, the arm extends from your hip, obeying your mental commands. If not holding an item or performing a task, it occasionally mimics the motion of one of your arms. Activation. While some features of the spare hand function continuously, this item is more effective when worn by an artificer. If you are an artificer, while wearing the belt, you can use your infusions to power the spare hand, enabling more complex functions. Using an infusion to power the spare hand requires 10 minutes and the expenditure of an infusion of the level indicated below. An infusion can power the hand for 24 hours. A spare hand is worn around the waist and so is considered a belt. Now, we kind of already figured that part below. But the infusion powers the spare hand for 24 hours, which means you can continually just keep bopping this out. No, it's not a zombie hand. Okay, I know that they kind of make it look like an aberration hand, but it's technically a construct hands. Okay? Okay. Yes. Okay, so its effects. As its most basic function, a spare hand can grasp or carry any object you could normally carry in one hand, freeing your normal hands for other tasks. A spare hand can hold magic items such as wands and rods for easy access, but you cannot activate those items while they are so held. Transferring an item to or from a spare hand is a free action. When the spare hand is not carrying an item, you gain a +2 competence bonus on climb, escape artist, and grapple checks. Without further augmentation from an infusion, see below, the spare hand cannot do anything other than hold an item. It cannot wield a weapon, retrieve a stored item, or perform any other tasks. So it basically can allow you to give you a bit of assistance with things like climbing, escaping, grappling, and holding things, but it really can't do anything else under normal circumstances. However, let's get into the fun stuff, shall we? If you power the spare hand with a first level infusion, it gains additional animated qualities. Once per round, you can command the hand to stow an item or retrieve a stowed item, including a weapon, as a free action. If you instead expend a second level infusion, your spare hand gains the above ability, and it can also hold a buckler or light shield for you, freeing your normal hand while still providing you the bonus to armor class from the shield. You still incur any armor check penalties or other drawbacks of holding the shield, and you are subject to normal penalties if you are not proficient with the shield. Now, my character is currently using a bracer on his arm that has the effect of a ring of force, but on the bracer, which means it doesn't incur anything like that. Hee. I'm just saying. This is going to become a lot more obvious of why I like that in just a little bit. If you expend a 3rd level infusion, your spare hand gains all the above abilities, and it is also capable of wielding a light weapon. You can command the spare hand to make offhand attacks with this weapon as if you were wielding it. The spare hand attacks using your normal attack modifier plus any appropriate penalties for an offhand attack. Yes. Basically, yes. All of that. Here's the thing, though. Technically, an artificer could have the spare hand, use a wand, and have it activated because of use magic device shenanigans, basically. And that is awesome. That is hilarious, and I love that. Anyway, now we've got caster level construction variant. Once again, missing from the magic item compendium. Rare spare hands belts sport 2 hands instead of 1. Each hand requires its own separate infusion each day to power it and gives the bonus. So now you've got 2. Now let's have a look. So it's an additional 10,000 gold on top of the base price, which is 12,000. So 22,000 for 2 hands, right? What if you gave 4 and put it on a backpack? Am I the only one who didn't think Dr. Octopus? Come on. That's awesome. Yes, I'm. If anyone at my dwarf game is seeing this, I heard that. That's what I'm doing. I'm making a Doc Ock backpack, basically. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to enjoy that. Oh dear. Now, chat, because you people, I hear typing, and I'm suspicious. Very suspicious. Anyway, let's see what we got. You know that thing is not going to be used appropriately. Of course, it's not going to be used appropriately. I'm an artificer. I'm playing an artificer. I'm going to break it. I'm going to break it. I'm going to break it heavily. Also, inappropriately as well. Yes, the Doc Ock idea is pretty cool, and it's awesome, and I can't wait to have the downtime to immediately make that. Mainly because I've got other ideas for belts that I want to do, which is going to be funny. Yep. But no spoilers, just in case. As I said, any of the dwarf game people see this. How many belts can I wear? 1. Why do you ask?
No, just if you wanted to use multiple to do stuff.
How do you mean?
You know how you can use multiple rings and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was just wondering if that worked the same way with belts.
Well, artificer, my dear. I could just put those effects onto one belt. Just stack them up. Like I've been doing with my rings. Yes, I've got 4 rings, and I'm stacking the hell out of those 4 rings. It is, and it's super broken, but as long as I keep within the rules, the dwarf game GM is going to allow it. He said, as long as I keep within the rules and the mechanics. I am keeping within the rules and the mechanics. I am doing all the appropriate modifiers to increase the costs each time I add something new. He's allowing it. So, yes. This is probably why the 3.5 GM is kind of being... Really? I'll allow it. Opiate level surface. I'll allow it. Am I? Did I say that right? Yeah, I figured. Yes, basically. This is why in our last game, my DM was like, yes, but also if you start flooding the world with magic items and the magic level of magic items in the world starts going up, there may be pushback from the gods. And I was like, against the world or against me? Because I'm not technically from the world originally. And he smiled at me. And I'm suspicious. So to be fair, I'm fully aware that I know what I'm getting into, and he is starting to get the idea of what he's getting into, because yes, artificers are new to the game, and so yes. Anyway, now, okay, so the next one is the one bracelet. This one appears mostly as is in the Magic Item Compendium. Only real difference is in part of the wording, because effect. Hold on. Description. Basically, it says somewhere here anyway. Effect. Grabbing a charm from the wand bracelet causes the item to appear in your hand. Storing an item causes it to shrink down and appear as a charm hanging from the bracelet. Any item to be stored can weigh no more than 3 pounds and must be able to be held in one hand, such as a wand or light weapon. That part doesn't really appear, from what I remember, in the Magic Item Companion. It more specifies a wand. The reason I have a feeling is because they were like, wait, so you could just store a bunch of daggers so that say rogue could just have like 8 daggers that they could continually start throwing out at somebody. Yeah, I can understand why, like in a Forgotten Realms game or a Greyhawk game or most home games based around that normal level, that could be really insane. But that's just stock standard for Eberron, so yeah. Anyway, now we've got blah 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 blah. Dragon shard items up next. These are mostly about the dragon mark rods, and some other interesting items. Not going to go too much into some of them, mainly because, for the most part, most of these require a dragon mark to either use, craft, whatever. Only reason why I'm not really touching on those is because for the game, I'm not really touching on them because no real reason. I just don't want to completely OP my GM at the moment, because if I revealed that I can just suppress requirement this whole thing and be able to use all these dragon marks, it's going to get out of hand. Yeah. I don't think he knows that that's what suppress requirement is really intended to be doing. And that's funny. Oh, look, a dragon mark rod of healing. Wow, that'd be really cool to be able to use. Yeah, that would be really cool to be able to use. Heal. Like, yes. That. Oh, where was it? No, not storm. Is it passage? The mark of passage, to be able to just teleport around. Wait, so like infinite heal? Yes. Basically. Hold on. Give me a second. Okay, down here, you can see our. you can see our dear friend, Thondred. He is our dwarf artificer, the inspiration for my own character, right? Just give me a second, everybody. So now here's the thing. Right here, it's kind of hard to see, but first of all, he's got 4 rings on. But secondly, he's got a bunch of rods around here and here. You can't really see them in this picture too well. I apologize. One of his other pictures somewhere, he's got basically all of them on show. But essentially, Thondred has no dragon mark per his stats. Even though he's a dwarf, he could have the mark of warding. He doesn't, though. However, he has dragon mark rods. Why would he have dragon mark rods? He doesn't have a dragon mark, so he can't use them. Unless he's suppressed requirement. He's putting suppressed requirement on them and then using them. Yeah. Total hack, and I absolutely love it. Anyway, now Eberron Dragon Shard items. The Empower and True Light, that's kind of yeah, not super duper. I don't think the Empowered Spell Shard is in the Magic Item Compendium. I think the True Light Lantern is in the Magic Item Compendium, but yeah, that neither here nor there. What I wanted to go into here now, though, is the Kyber Dragon Shard items, because I've been mentioning these. We haven't quite gotten to them yet in the main deep dive. However, check this shit out. All right, I'm going to bloop, bloop, bloop. As I said, I'm going to bloop, bloop, bloop. All right. Starting with Braces of Wind. So basically, with Kyber Dragon Shard items, you're basically using the planar binding spell to bind an elemental to the Dragon Shard, having it attached to the item in general, and then powers in. Why do I do things?
I just want you.
Yeah.
I can't see out of this thing.
Okay. Unfortunately, we can only see things.
Yeah. Now it's 10 times scarier, right?
Yeah.
This must be what Iron Man feels like.
No, he's got all those electronic displays in his helmet. So
yeah, I don't. It's just blackness.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Well, my concentration is quite poor, so it's quite easy to break. So,
so the Kyber crystals.
Yep.
Now, y'all gave me a tease of this last week.
Yep.
It's probably among one of my more favorite items.
Why is that?
Because I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Like, and when I mean Star Wars fan, I mean like the real Star Wars.
The pre-Disney Star Wars. Yeah, that's okay.
Yes, pre-Disney Star Wars. But there was a book that came out that was supposed to bridge the gap between Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back. Mm-hmm. And it was all about Luke going out to try to find this thing called the Kyber crystal.
Yep.
And I mean, I know that the term kyber didn't originate with Star Wars, and it's likely not tethered to. Wow, that really is frightening. Hold on. Let me put my real eyes on. That it was likely not the origin for what we saw in Eberron, but the idea behind it, that it's this crystal that can power something and change or change or alter what its capabilities are based on what type of crystal it was. And I think to an extent, is that kind of what it represents in Eberron?
I would say that ironically, even though we're talking about the kyber dragon shards themselves, dragon shards in general probably represent kyber crystals,
right? Functionality wise, yeah.
Because like you've got the kyber dragon shards from the dragon below, who the shards are basically attuned to binding and capturing things.
Right.
So you can bind elementals to use their power, or you can capture, say, an extra planar creature so that you don't have a fight anymore with it.
Gotcha.
With Eberron crystals, they dragon shards, they are designed to basically attune to a spell, so that essentially you can cast a spell from the dragon shard.
Right.
For a caster, having a bunch of different ones attuned to different spells means that if you've got one that's a spell that usually requires a lot of a costly material component, this negates the material component.
Okay.
Because it usually requires XP and one whole day to attune the crystal. So you're essentially making that up as the material cost for it.
Now, does it imbue said crystal with charges, or is it just
for the most part, it is considered a continuous use item as a material component.
Gotcha. So is it once it's imbued with that spell, can you, how should I word, unimbue it and then add a different spell into it?
You could. Probably using the artificer mechanics, I would say it'd probably take a day to unimbue it and then another day to imbue it with a new spell.
Follow up to that question. Do different, I assume that they come in different colors?
No.
Oh. So do different dragons, I mean, is it not that different dragons produce different types of shards?
No, because there's only the 3 progenitor dragons.
Understood.
So,
okay.
Sybaris dragon shards came from Sybaris. Eberron dragon shards came from Eberron. Kyber dragon shards came from Kyber.
Gotcha.
And they're not really representative of the color of the dragon so much as, in a manner of speaking, it's blood.
The plane that it came from.
No, it's blood.
Or the world that it, okay.
Because Eberron dragon shards are red, while Kyber dragon shards are usually blue or a darkish color towards black.
So can and viewers, you have to forgive me because I know next to nothing about Eberron from 3rd edition. So this is why I'm just full of questions, because I find the item itself fascinating from the sneak preview that you gave me last week. But let's say I've got the 3 different shards, right? Or does any given one of them enhance a specific school of spells or a specific spell type over the other 2?
So in a manner of speaking, yes, and also no.
Okay.
So if you're looking to enhance, Sybaris dragon shards generally do that. It doesn't matter whether you're enhancing, say, the caster level, empowering the spell like a meta magic feat, increasing the power of a psionic ability, potentially increasing the power of a divine ability. Cerberus Dragon Shards will do that.
Okay.
Eberron Dragon Shards will resonate with magic, so things based around magic, store, like as I said, being the material component or being the storage device for a continual use item.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Eberron Dragon Shards will do. And Kyber Dragon Shards basically flat out are capturing devices and batteries.
Yeah, so I'll be honest, how I initially, when I went to bed that night, what was going through my head was like, okay, so Eberron shards are red, Kyber are blue, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, so the red shards are going to enhance everything fire-based. Blue shards are going to enhance everything cold-based. And that's kind of where my mind was going when I went to bed that night after watching. I'm like, that's really cool. I like that concept. You know, and of course, I was trying to relate it, you know, to the shards or the Kyber crystals that we see in Star Wars, where you know the red ones are, you know, kind of enhance the evil side of things, and the blue ones kind of enhance the good side of things, and the green one enhances, whatever, you know, nature or whatever, you know. So anyway, that's my question about all of it. You know, I was just kind of curious, and I didn't crack the book open or you know the PDF or anything and look it up because you know I was kind of just musing on it in my own mind.
Yeah, but you're not too far off because there are instances of your common gemstones being infused because where their vein of growth has been on the world, potentially being affected by a nearby deposit of dragon shards.
Gotcha.
So you can have, say, for example, a deposit of garnet that's being close to a field of Cerberus dragon shards that have fallen from the sky, and now, like, when you use them for fire-based magic, it's enhanced as if it's been either empowered or maximized, depending on how affected the gemstone has been. Yes, that stuff does indeed happen. I can't remember whether it's the Eberron campaign setting or that we've already gone through, or whether it's Magic of Eberron, but one of them does indeed talk about how gemstones near deposits of dragon shards do become affected.
Okay.
Yep.
See, and I gotta say, I mean this is one of the biggest reasons why I'm so much into, you know, the fantasy role playing game scene. Is it's just, you know, using just pure imagination to figure shit out.
Yeah.
Ooh, are we allowed to say stuff like that on here? Sorry. Figure stuff out.
We're on my channel. You're just like I haven't said cunt yet, so. Yes, we can say the naughty words.
Okay.
It's no different to talking Drek.
Okay.
Except that Grim's awake and there's a kid running around.
Gotcha.
Don't worry, they've heard that before from me.
Understood. It's an Aussie right.
It is. It is. So yes, I'm currently going through the the Kyber Dragon Shard items. But I mean, if you have questions that you'd rather ask, I am all up for that.
I'm going to sit back and listen. But when you bring up something, I'm likely going to interrupt and ask the question. I don't have the book to reference, so and I recently lost what I had. It's in the process of trying to recover itself. So I'm just going to sit back and listen. And like I said, if I have a question, I'll ask.
Yeah. Where are we up to on that, by the way?
I think it's at 57%.
Oh,
it's moving.
At least.
Yeah, it's moving.
I feel you. Trust me. When I had that happen, when the core kernel of my drive that was normally all my stuff corrupted and destroyed everything on my drive. I mean, My uncle, who helped me out with it, said it had to have been a virus, but I don't know where it could have come from.
That's painful.
Yeah, but oh my god, I lost everything because the root startup of the drive got destroyed, and there was no way to repair it. So, but yes,
So I'm looking at
I
this. The picture that you have there, is that that one thing, is that earth plate armor?
Okay, so this is the earth plate armor.
Have you ever so the only question I have about that,
Yep.
have you deciphered the runes that are on it?
I have not, no.
I'd be curious to see what that says.
Uh,
It probably says something stupid like left shin guard, right shin guard.
I probably wouldn't put it past them.
And on that fire armor, is that a...
There?
Yeah. Is that a...
that... No, it's not a vagina.
I'll put my helmet of shame back on.
That's the Kyber Dragon Shard. It just looks a different color because it's currently engulfed in fire. So it doesn't look blue. It looks green because it's got red fire all around it. It's funny how that happens, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
Anyway, the reason why I was going to talk about the Earth Plate is because I'm planning on upgrading one of the Dwarf Game companions with this for their armor. It seemed like a good idea at the time, and I've made a few adjustments to it, which I find hilarious. Essentially.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Earth Plate, the large Earth elemental bound into the suit of full plate gives you the ability to shrug off damage that would drop ordinary folk. You can also sense the presence of your enemies when you draw close, when they draw close to you. Description: at first glance, this suit of full plate armor looks filthy and ill kept. On closer examination, however, you can see that it is expertly crafted and that what appears to be dirt is actually the color of the metal itself. A rare black Kyber Dragon Shard is set horizontally into the front of the armor across the abdomen, binding an earth elemental tightly within. This suit of armor has significant weight, but with this weight comes protection. Runes in the gnome language, so I would probably be having to look up either the player handbook or DMG gnomish, mark its greaves and gauntlets, and the aroma of fresh earth seems to emanate from the suit when you move in it quickly. Activation: the enhancement bonus of the armor is always active, requiring no action on your part. The armor's additional effects are activated together as a single standard action. The Tremor Sense and Stone Fist. That's a different ability. Stone Skin effects last for 90 minutes or until the Stone Skin effect has absorbed 90 points of damage. This power functions only once per day. However, I'm guessing you don't need to run it continuously for 90 minutes. You can probably turn it on and off again.
Sure.
Yeah. So effect: when activated, this +2 full plate armor grants you the benefit of a Stone Skin spell. That's player's handbook. As long as the Stone Skin's effect is active, you also benefit from Tremor Sense within a range of 5 feet. And yeah. Now, I would have to go through my tablet to list all the upgrades, but basically, I've upgraded the boots, the gauntlets, given him a helmet, and I think I've also added a belt just to round out everything, basically. But yeah, I've put permanent Tremor Sense on the boots, as well as giving him permanent haste, because he's never keeping track, or the player's never keeping track of how many times he's used his haste charged boots, because they're only like 3 times a day or something like that. So I'm like, I'm just going to upgrade so he can just constantly use that on and off.
So I have a question and an observation. Question: if you were the DM, instead of having it smell like earth, could it smell like coffee?
I would say no.
Damn.
Only because it's more of a stony earth. Now,
What if it was a coffee elemental? Okay, I'm being goofy there. The observation, pop it back up.
Huh?
Yep. Yeah, back up on screen. So under effect, I'm pointing to it like you guys can actually see what I'm pointing to. That makes sense, right? Under effect. So this is what I think makes 3rd edition superior to 5th edition. If you take a look where it talks about the benefits of the stone shaped spell, is that what it says?
Stone skin.
Stone skin spell. Sorry.
Yep.
Stone skin spell. It references C page, an exact page in an exact manual. And then again, if you look at where it talks about the range of 5 feet, yeah, see page 316 of the monster manual. Again, it's referring to a specific page. Makes it so incredibly easy to turn to exactly what information you need, as opposed to just talking about it like 5th edition does. And I'm not trying to piss on 5th edition, because I like 5th edition.
I can do that plenty.
Yeah, you can plenty. But I'll say that element right there is something that, in my opinion, makes 3rd edition far superior. Just
Absolutely.
for ease, it just makes it so easy to look up the information you need.
Yeah. I basically, since starting 3.5, because I had a couple of Pathfinder resources previously, but I never got into it purely on the grounds of I thought it was too much like 3.5, and all I'd ever heard about 3.5, aside from my own bias of it's made by those card game people, why would I want to get their role-playing game?
Right.
But all I ever heard was that it was very, very, very mathy. Everything was mathy. But what I didn't realize is that this is the kind of, I was thinking more in terms of AD&D sense of maths, and that pile-on, that heavier pile-on.
No, I get it. Yep.
More AD&D was just no,
no,
thank you. I'm good. No, thank you. But when you get past that and you start reading out how these magic items are listed and labeled and stuff, as you said, this is really helpful. This is how does this spell work? Oh, here's the exact page of where to find it to reference.
Yeah.
I don't
know why that was lost to the newer editions.
Probably because they're trying to get people to use the D&D Beyond app.
Yeah, but I mean, back in 2014, that didn't exist.
Yeah, that's because it was a carryover from. So yes, because they were still probably working under the same mentality of the 4th edition rules, and we both know what 4th edition looks like.
Yeah, it was a nightmare.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think 4th edition in a video game probably functions as a very good video game. In fact, I will say Pillars of Eternity, more or less, is a 4th edition. And that game is one of my favorite top-down role-playing games, video games, right? But as a piece of paper, that's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Just yeah. Anyway, that getting sidetracked.
Sorry to sidetrack there, but like I said, I had to make the observation.
Although, no, I will bring it around, because the whole reason why I recently dived into looking at 4th edition again was because of you telling me about an Eberron thing and asking me about it. And then I looked it up, and I was like, that can't be a real thing. And then
Yeah.
looked into the other PDFs of Eberron that I've got, and was just like, oh wow, I'm hurting so much now. Thank you, Game Masters. I'm so glad you could hurt me so much.
Well, all you got to do is take those elements and just pop them back an edition or back half an edition.
It's not even that simple though. Like, because you've got to get past how like it's the wording as well, and the action economy as well, that's like intrinsic into, because they had a staff of artifice, and I thought, oh, that would be a good thing to incorporate that. And then after going through 4 pages before I found the freaking thing, I'm like, oh cool, here it is.
Yeah.
What does any of that mean? Where's the mechanics? Oh,
this is not English.
Oh, it enhances your summons. What?
What summon? What? How does it enhance it?
What? Okay, first of all, I'm an artificer. It says staff of artifice. What summons? What does the? How is that even useful to me?
What if I summon a bowl of chili? How is it being enhanced? Is it more spicy? It's a chili elemental. What?
But again, why would an artificer be using that? Wouldn't a druid be using that? In that case, wouldn't it just be a staff of enhancement?
Yeah. Where's the construct? It's not a staff of I mean, yeah. Like I said, 4th edition was a nightmare, but
I just know, because Mike Mills has been in the news again lately, just know I would like to tear off on complaining about that man 4th edition and 5th edition and his impact on both, but I'm not going to. I'm going to save that for Sunday and derail the topics we've already got listed.
Grim Squirrel asks if I was hungry because I've mentioned coffee and now chili. No, I'm actually very stuffed, but food's always on my mind, especially coffee. I mean, I love coffee, so.
All right, what do we have here? So fire tunic, that's pretty self-explanatory. Gloves of flame, also pretty self-explanatory. Basically just a lot of fire and fire resistance. Or fire immunity? Which one is it? 3 times a day to produce 2 effects, each which lasts 5 rounds. Whatever. Ring of the Stalker. Well, that's a fun one. Rock boots. Yeah. Essentially, it was a variant of the rock boots. That's why I was giving the other player.
Yeah, I got you.
Except adding haste and
so it looks like, just based on all the titles of these, like rock boots, water whip, that a lot of this stuff is all based on elemental.
Yes. Which
makes sense.
Yes, but also I feel like they were trying to not OP things too much, because one thing I came up with was a Ironstone Dragon Shard, Fiber Dragon Shard, and I basically, the design of it that I've got for one of my items is, hold on, I'm gonna switch this back, is it's got a large shadow elemental within it, as from the Tome of Magic.
Okay.
Because shadow elementals, they can negate cold damage for some reason, and my character being a half Azer fire type subtype dwarf, basically, is kind of extremely vulnerable to cold damage. So I always take
that
extra
balances
damage
it out.
Yeah. So this immunity will essentially balance out my normal vulnerability. But I was also looking, there's a shadow magic spell that basically allows me to have that and also another effect, and it's also part of the shadow elemental's abilities. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do that then.
Mm-hmm.
The bounce elemental and take that shadow magic spell, and that's what that's going to be. So yeah,
I get it.
yeah. The only other thing is that I kind of was looking at it and going, I could just bump it up to like a huge shadow elemental bound to it, and then just like have a permanent shadow stop, which is like a shadow version of time stop going on me. So like every round I get like 8 to 12 turns.
Yeah, the DM's going to let that happen.
I know. We've already got the wizard in our party is already trying to be a time lord, like full on trying to like emphasize like time manipulation and stuff like that. And he tries to smack him down.
I always loved the Chronomancer.
Mm.
I always thought that was a wicked fun class to play.
Oh yeah, and I think that's what he's going for very much. He's currently a wizard archmage though, but it's quite obvious why, because he constantly like uses the archmage prestige class benefits to manipulate and redesign the spells he's casting, and it's like but yeah,
see where you're going with it.
Yeah. But yeah, he's been very much focusing on like time manipulation spells, and it's like, oh, and then the DM's just like, yeah, no, not that many. But, yeah.
Well, I mean, there's only so many things that even a good DM, even a great DM, can juggle. And man, I mean, look, it's one thing to enjoy a good time travel story that's like within Star Trek or something. Boy, it's completely different trying to wrestle with it in D&D. I mean, the concept is awesome. I love the concept of it, but oof.
And I mean, they've already had, like, before I even joined, they've already had a time travel story where they went into the world's future, or an alternate reality, supposedly an alternate reality of the world's future, where it was basically like Wolfenstein. Like there were like these mechs and stuff around, and like the dwarf city was like a full-on dystopia, like dictatorship and stuff, and like it was just like it was very bad. And so like they've been trying to steer.
What do we need to do to make sure that future doesn't happen?
Yeah. But it keeps like every time I hear updates about it, because obviously we've been doing this, but we've had a separate group doing stuff back at the city. And every time I hear about what's kind of been going on there, it kind of keeps vibing towards that dystopian future. And it's like it's happening in small increments, but I can't help but notice it's still happening towards that direction.
So has the DM ever pulled out an NPC that approaches anybody and goes, "Have you seen this boy?"
I don't know, but that would be hilarious.
I mean, I'd have to. We did a time travel episode once, or session once, where my players ended up running into a big battle that was taking place between xenomorphs and predators. Great times. Great times.
See, there's your problem. You didn't have your Terminators.
Oh, they were there. They were there too. Oh yeah, Terminators were there too. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Man, could you imagine a bunch of colonial marines coming across a situation where you got xenomorphs, Terminators, and Skynet, and also the Predators?
Yeah.
That's like that really is the nuke the site from orbit situation.
Oh, it
for them.
is. It is for sure. Well, I mean, just the combination of those three, concepts, it's just, I don't know. It's just fun. It's just fun.
Yeah. Got a few ideas I need to do videos on because of that, but yes. But yes. I reckon. Well, I mean, the next couple of pages are just getting into elemental vessels now, so I will save those type of things for another time because elemental vessels are really fun, and yeah,
And I'm not.
huh?
And I'm
Yeah.
not.
Oh, come on, you're fun. You're fun, but I've spoiled
I'm
people
too
enough.
derailing. I'm too derailing, and I'm not allowing you to actually do the deep dive. I get it.
You're only as derailing as I am to other Brians, so
Okay, so I'm giving you a dose of your own medicine. Is that what it is?
exactly.
Awesome. Yeah.
But yes, I mean, to give you an idea, the next couple of elemental vessels include the Earth Sled, which is a land ship basically,
Okay.
and a Tumbler, which is a rock melding vehicle that can essentially drill down into the world, but like a Earth elemental.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it does the Earth glide thing.
I get it.
Yep. And both of those can carry lots of people. So yeah. Oh yeah, and then we've got minor schemers and things like that, and Dalkia items. Oh wow. Should I have told you about the Husk of the Infinite Worlds?
That sounds kind of cool.
It's really Eldritch Abomination.
So it's got a touch of Cthulhu to it.
Oh yeah. Hold on, I will.
Do we have? Is there a visual on it?
There is.
Oh.
So the Husk of
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, you can kind of see the poor person trapped inside pushing up against the
The stomach. I mean, it looks like a big giant stomach with tentacles.
So it's actually a bomb device that snares people into it and then starts exposing them to the
Ooh.
horrors of the outer planes, mutating them into aberrations, except uncontrollably.
Look at the bottom there. There's got a little face that's sticking up like.
Yep. That would have been a failed experiment that the thing already plopped out.
Wow.
Yep. It's nasty. This thing is like, if you really hate your the people that you are going up against, you create one of these things and then just say,
roll up new characters. Here's you a new blank character sheet.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Technically, there is a 1 in a 1d100 chance that you might come out normal. Then there's a chance of psionics. Then there's a chance of becoming an aberration at random. And then everything else is just horrible mutations.
Is that permanent?
Yes.
So that's basically just a campaign ending element right there.
Yes, except I want to point out, right? Going through, so it starts up here, Husk of Infinite Worlds. Aura caster level, construction, weight, price. This is something you can make.
It is.
As it goes into details with, this is a this is essentially a Dalkir bomb used to like either get rid of or make new recruits out of people who were scheming against them. Which
Vecna would love that.
Oh no, they'd probably use it on Vecna too. Dalkir hate everyone else. If you're not essentially, if you're not an Illithid, Beholder, there's a couple of others.
Or aberration of just any kind of aberration.
Yeah, any kind of aberration, psionic aberration, especially. You're a lesser creature and you deserve to be hit by one of these things.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not pretty. And quite honestly, if you do happen to come out as an Illithid or another kind of aberration, you're still treated as a second class compared to the rest of them.
Yeah.
Because you were made by one of these things. Really, they just want these things to end up like Mr. Floorface. They just wanted to destroy you and leave you as a horrible mess.
But Mr. Floorface, I mean, that's dangerous within itself. I mean, imagine having to wake up at 3 a.m. to go take a pee. I mean, you'd have to really watch where you step. I mean, I don't care if you're an Illithid or not. If you're a natural made Illithid, you got to watch where you step if you got to get up and go pee in the night. Because you ain't going to see that. And if you have 100 of them between you and the bathroom, no, forget it. I'd get a bedpan. And hope it's not Mr. Floorface. Although I guess it wouldn't really matter, but...
Well, at least you've got a hole to tip it down.
Right.
Even more torture.
Yeah. Okay, so what does it take to actually create one of these?
So for the most part, so it requires Craft Wondrous item, the Wish spell, and a year of work, as well as requiring unconscious form of Dalkir to serve as the basis of the husk.
Wow. Okay, so any creature within 20 feet of an activated husk must succeed on a DC 20 will save each round, or be subject to the effect of a confusion spell until the husk ceases its activity. If you're wearing the monocle of tolerance, which is the next item there, you're immune to that effect.
Yes. However, you still got to watch out for being consumed by the damn thing.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, just being in the same room as the thing is dangerous. And of course, if you're under the effects of the confusion spell, you could find the thing attractive and go towards it.
Oh, of course, yeah, because nothing says love like that.
That?
Yeah. Wow.
That?
I mean,
yeah,
that gets my blood boiling,
Getting all hot and heavy for that, hey?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My God. Yeah, just the eldritch abomination of it all.
Although, I mean, it does say that a slender, wet flap allows passage into or out of the dark interior.
Are we going to start talking about flaps now?
I'm just reading what it says. When activated, the husk blazes from within, projecting a kaleidoscope of colors and insane half-imagined images on any nearby wall. So I guess that's what those ghost-like things look like on the okay.
Yeah.
A wail like that of a creature screaming in agony accompanies the show of lights, and odd scents come and go at random.
Yep.
I mean, that's pretty descriptive.
Yes. And we've got the lore down here. The husks are created from the Quiescent?
I'm not familiar with that word.
Forms of the Dalkir. The proper method of activating a husk requires a DC 45 Knowledge Arcana check So improper activation is relatively easy.
Sure.
However, you get a beholder or a illithid activating one of these things, and oh yeah, they can do it perfectly.
Sure. Yeah.
But yes, how fun. And yeah, we've got the minor schemers over here. My favorite little magic MacGuffins, which are never mentioned in 5th edition except as a story plot device. So a lot of 5eers have no idea what these freaking things are.
That bottom one there, I think my mom had one like that. She used to paddle me with it when I was bad when I was a kid.
Yeah, I've still got one.
Huh, yeah, exactly. That's it.
Yep. Because I have currently 2 small children. Sometimes they need the fear of God. Or the fear of what? The 60s, 80s?
Yeah. The fear of the 70s, yeah.
Yeah. But yes, just quickly, minor schemers, for anyone who doesn't know, or who got 5th edition, saw schemers mentioned 6 times and was confused because the book doesn't explain what a schemer is. Schemers are basically power devices. They usually contain a spell-like ability of up to 6th level. They use your caster level, and they can be used once a day. Simple. So, any spell-like ability, technically any feat as well can also be imparted. Basically, as the top of the text implies, these are devices that were meant to basically impart knowledge from person to person to generation. So there are schemas of spells, there are schemas of feats, there are schemas of knowledge, etc. So
do you think that the title of it, schemas, do you think that is like shorthand for like schematic?
Probably,
I only ask that,
but in a broad sense.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, in a broad sense, and I only ask that because I'm looking at the artwork, and it looks like to me it's got like a list of instructions or schematics, on the artwork, just kind of etched into the artwork itself.
Yeah, so they are based on the complexity of the powers stored onto the schema. Usually dictates just what is carved, etched,
right,
written onto it. It says above that the more powerful a power on the schema or within the schema, the more intricate, the more written down there is on the object.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's. I've got a musing on this, but
Yep.
Scroll up a little bit. I kind of want to deep dive a bit into all of these.
All right.
So let's get to the start of it. Okay, so schemas are the magic of Eberron in recorded form. Okay, I got that. Dating back to the time of the giants, schemas have been used to pass magical knowledge through the generations. An individual schema may be a few sigils or sigils carved into a stone tablet.
Sigils is the place, sigils is the writing.
Or an elaborate scripted presentation on the torso of a Warforged Titan. In most cases, individual schema represents a specific magical building block. These blocks can be combined into magical patterns, storing power rangers from simple cantrips to a world-shaking destruction. House Cannith, Mage Right, might use a simple pattern to quickly create hundreds of continual flamestones for the use in street lamps, even as agents of Emerald Claw seek to build a pattern that can replace the destruction of Seer.
Replicate.
What did I say? Replace?
Yeah.
Sorry, replicate. See, some schemas, minor schema, okay. Minor schema is usually a flat strip of some durable material, commonly metal or wood, approximately 2 inches wide and a foot or more long. Okay, my theory is starting to shape up a little bit. You'll see where I'm going with this in a second. With carved or etched symbols and sigils covering its face, a minor schema that stores a low-level spell or infusion might appear fairly simple, whereas a schema with a higher-level spell might have hundreds of components incorporated within its magical diagram. Typical minor schema weighs approximately 1 pound. Minor schemas are never constructed of parchment or other frail materials. Okay. To use one, the spell or infusion contained within the item must be on your class spell list. Okay, that doesn't count towards my theory here. Activation.
It doesn't count for an artificer either, because artificers are able to replicate all spells that they're doing through use magic device. So,
well, I mean, where I'm going to go with this is probably like way off the map, but I'm looking for more evidence here. Okay. Determining what spell or infusion is recorded on a minor schema requires a spellcraft check. Okay. Read magic does not decipher, though identify and similar spells will. If a spell or infusion contained within a minor schema is on your class list, then you can activate that schema as part of spell completion. No arcane or divine designation. Usable by any character with a spell. If cast level is lower, use a device. Success if you fail. It doesn't function for 1d6 days. No other mishaps happen. If the spell or infusion on the schema is not on your class list, you must instead succeed. Okay, failure renders the minor schema dormant for 1 to 6 days, and is noted above. Activating. Okay. Construction. Okay, so here's where I'm going with it, right?
Yep.
What would happen if you had a schema that could do... I missed this part. Is it just one spell, or can you do multiple spells in any one given schema?
It's only ever specified one spell.
Okay. Well, then that alone would dispel my my theory. My theory was going to go this way. You have a schema that has 7 different spells infused in it. That somehow gets broken apart. And it's rod shaped.
I had a feeling I knew where you're going with this. What you want is an eternal staff or an eternal rod. Yeah. Those are basically the same as a schema, but they function twice a day, and obviously they will function like a wand, a rod, or a staff.
Right.
But with the caveat that instead they function twice a day.
Right.
Or rather, the spells contained within function twice a day.
Right. Now, I mean, obviously the Rod of 7 Parts is artifact and, much more powerful than like your general schema would be. But scroll down just a touch. What sparked it was, there's a rod right there. And if you count the parts, you've got the ball, small little part, the next part, the next part. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, I could see 8 total parts there.
3, 4, 5. 5.
Yeah, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think in my twisted world, that's probably what I would have made the Rod of 7 Parts into. Is it would have been an artificer that has figured out a way to, my theory on the artificer, right? What is my theory on the artificer?
That it was a race of artificers that originally created the original world, and then it blew up. All the magic items got spread across the multiverse and onto all the new planes, new material planes that came into existence, and that's where magic items originally came from.
Yes, that artificers are the ones that created every single magic item out there.
Yes. Technically, you already got a race name for them, but you don't want to keep using that.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. Like I said, we're deep diving, but I'm also going off on wild tangents. I'm sorry, guys. I can't help it.
No. It's completely all right, because do you know what? My custom stuff that I've got ready to make for the game is basically inspired by is an eternal staff inspired by the rod of 7 parts.
2 minds.
Yes.
That's it.
Partially because of you, because you kept talking about it all that time when
I
the
can't help. I mean, it
Deck
makes
Evil
sense.
Ruin book was coming out, and we just were talking about it all the time, so it infected my brain.
Sorry.
Not that I'm complaining. It is a core original D&D item.
Yeah.
So not having a massive go, but if we weren't talking about it so much back then, it probably wouldn't have been permeating in my brain either.
Yeah.
But yes, eternal staff of 7 parts. That is not 7 parts.
Yeah. It's the generic version. It doesn't cost quite as much.
And it's also chaotically aligned.
It's chaotically. Yeah.
Well, my character's chaotic good. And I was like, well, I could make it just good rather than lawful. But I think it'd be funnier with chaotic because almost nothing we've come across has been purely chaotic.
Yeah.
And the one thing that did attacked me in the party with Word of Chaos. To which I had to pull out my character sheet and show the GM to be like, actually, dude, no. And he's like, oh, bastard. And I'm just like, yep, you just did nothing to me. Because if the target is chaotic, they are unaffected.
Yeah. So when y'all play, how impactful is alignment in your 3.5 game?
I would say it probably comes up at least once a session.
That's pretty good.
Because we have most of the party is good, but we've got 2 neutral party members. Now, it's okay for one of them because he's a divine character. Okay. So,
he's more or less good, but
yeah, he's currently on the path to being like a demigod to the goddess of fate, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. So he's kind of like in that kind of territory, but the other one is the wizard, the one that wants to be a Time Lord, and he's not he's technically saying he's lawful neutral. However, he comes off more chaotic neutral most of the time, considering the stuff he gets up to.
Yeah.
However, because of spells, basically, most of the time, the healers or the clerics are popping up a magic circle of good or something to protect everyone with, because the majority of the party is good, and the divine character is able to utilize a good sphere. Mm-hmm. So it's really always just the damn wizard always being left out of this stuff because he's insane, basically. Turning evil, I swear. But anyway, that's just me. Anyway. So yes, we'll wrap this up. Unless you've got anything else you want to mention about?
Just having fun, man.
I mean, I didn't get to as much as I was hoping I would run through, but
sorry.
No, not your fault. I probably would have tangented off on my own anyway. But yeah, there's so much stuff in here that, like, some of it annoys me that it's not part of the core book, and other parts annoy me because, like, they're listed in, as I was saying earlier, they're listed in the Magic Item Compendium.
Right.
But the version in the Magic Item Compendium sucks. It's so much worse. Well, like, it's like the most minimalist version.
Which one came out for? Which book came out first?
The Magic Item Compendium was one of the last ones to come out for the 3rd edition. So it compiled all of the other stuff.
Okay. So it was supposed to be the update to what we were just looking at.
Yes.
Yeah.
but almost all of it lists, like, say for example, the spare hands belt.
Right.
It doesn't list the variant. With the Caneth goggles, it doesn't list the true seeing ability. With the robe of arcane might, it doesn't list that there's a +2, a +6, or a +8 variant version of it, or that there's a variant that provides either a +2 or a +4 resistance bonus to saves. All saves. It doesn't list these things.
I will say that the Caneth goggles inspired me to make, for my game, 3D glasses.
Yes. I was very happy about that.
That was fun. Depth sight. That's what it was. Yeah. Glasses of depth sight. It was fun.
And, at the very least, I'm glad that I could inspire you along on some of this.
Oh, man. I mean, I get inspiration. That's from every place. And, I mean, especially from the conversations that you and I have, in Discord or in live streams like this, I'm pulling little bits and pieces from everywhere, and so, I mean, I'm paying attention. There's people that have good ideas and I steal the hell out of them.
It's probably not going to be the next actual Eberron deep dive that we do, but probably the one after that. We'll probably be discussing the magic items. In that one is the Eternal Wands. So I'll be going over more explicitly what the Eternal Wands, how that whole function works, and then point out, because it'll be 27.91 before we get to 5 nations or whatever it is, that lists that there's not only eternal rods, but it says that there are also eternal staffs as well. And just, why would you and the worst part is there's no stats or anything. It just mentions that those exist as well, which means you have to go back to the Eberron campaign setting, figure out what the math is for creating eternal wands, and then apply that to rods and staffs.
Right.
Which that took me a little bit longer than I would have liked to, but yes, I did work out all the math.
And wouldn't you think that the rod or staff, I guess that's a little subjective though. I was going to ask if you feel like the rod or the staff would be slightly more powerful than a wand, but I guess historically wands are kind of a focus of power and staffs are more of a radiation of power. Rods, I don't know. I don't know exactly. I don't have a good way to describe what a rod would be.
So the way I've interpreted it based on 3rd edition, rods and scepters are kind of like
sorry. I'm laughing at the comment. Someone is going to have to go into necromancy to keep this show going.
You want to explain yourself?
No, because, it's going to take so long to get through the books that you're going to grow old and die before you finish, so you have to...
I get it. It makes sense to me. Yeah. Especially if I'm like joining in. Oh, I'm going to detract.
If I can quickly get this done.
I'll be quiet.
Basically, so wands only go up to storing 4th level, normally 4th level spells. With eternal wands, it's only 3rd level, sorry. So normal ones can have a 4th level spell, up to a 4th level spell. Eternal ones only go up to a 3rd level spell. With rods and scepters, I see them more as having that same limitation or design, but in that they can go up to level 9th spell, right? but it's still only one spell within
Sure.
that item. With the staff, especially how you see them in 3.5, you can have a ton of stored spells in there with, you know, X amount of charges or
Right.
requiring 2 charges to activate, that kind of thing. Because of that, that's how I go with judging what, you know, a wand is, what a rod is, what a staff is, and what its power originate is.
Sure.
You know, a wand is a small localized spell to just quickly bing bing.
Yeah.
A rod or a scepter is something, yeah, a little bit bigger, a foot or so, like
yeah.
And so it can hold up to yes, and so it can hold up to, you know, a 9th level spell, but still only the one spell in general. Whereas a staff can hold multiple spells at a time. Yes, exactly. Can hold multiple spells at a time because it is a larger object able to hold more power within it.
Right.
With Eberron, of course, you're then hacking the system because, you know, for each of those spells within your staff, you're putting an Eberron dragon shard in to focus that power as well, to kind of enhance the eternal power mechanic. You know, you could then put a Kyber dragon shard into it as well. That's now got a magma elemental or something that's binding 2 elementals or more, and now that is also, you know, applying extra power to the staff.
Right.
You can then add a Siberys dragon shard and now add meta magics to it all.
So it's pretty powerful.
Yes.
Wand,
and you can just make it all more powerful with Eberron, and I love that. And I'm going to hack the crap out of it. How many inches per spell slot? Gots, you know exactly how many. At least 6. Should we end it there?
I'm keeping my mouth shut on this one. That's just too easy of a, yeah.
Well, anyway, I hope everyone has enjoyed this chaos that has been
Shining Knight.
Yes, and Surface, a real space pirate. And hopefully next time I'll be back on Gaming with ADHD's channel next week for proper deep dive into Eberron, where we'll be covering the organizations of Eberron and probably going over once again some of the dragon houses and some of the organizations we've already talked about, but I'm sure we're probably going to skip over most of those. So, Shining Knight, you got anything you want to say before we end?
No, I'm good.
Try not to suffocate.
It's incredibly difficult to breathe in this thing.
I can imagine. That's why I said try not to suffocate. All right, everybody.
What really sucks is when this thing just like slams down on my face. I feel like it's going to cut my nose.